I wanna play every single game. These bright lights are making my heart race. Mind's been gone, lost out in deep space. Imagine that you're there, you find your way. Imagine that you're there, top of your trade. Can't hear the doubt today. I can't hear all of your hate. Ha! Paint that picture, dance if you want to. Sing in the shower, you have the power. I move fluid, I stay grooving. Feels even better when you have to prove it. With my women, I get choosy. Getting to the point, I pick and choose it. Each new drop, I improve it. That reminds me, y'all should go cue it. Thinking that life is an arcade. I wanna play every single game. These bright lights are making my heart race. Mind's been gone, lost out in deep space. Imagine that your fears were never there. Step into the room, forget your...
Yo, welcome back, guys. Authentic Vibes Only Podcast, episode 22. Another special guest here. Like I said, we're just going to keep rolling them along for you guys, and they just keep being bigger and bigger. It's honestly amazing to have the guests we've had the last couple weeks. So today's guest is Caleb Cripe, and as always, we have Jordan as our co-host. So Caleb, if you'd like to say hello, get a little introduction.
Hi guys, I'm Caleb. I just recently graduated college, and I'm getting ready to roll. This is gonna be fun.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. So what's so dope about having Caleb on here is he's actually been in the Olympics, for Paraplegic Olympics, right?
On trial, not the actual Paralympics yet.
Don't matter. Still
Not
an amazing
yet.
accomplishment. So that's why we got him on here. We'll talk about that, his story, also his story of being comfortable in who he is and being able to find himself and having that self-growth journey while having a disability and going through, I'm sure, a tough childhood, tough lifetime with everything going on in his life. So we'll get into that. We'll start with, let's see, I got him down. We'll start with just your journey into how you got into swimming and how you wanted to stay in sports after being told like no more contact sports at such a young age. So let's get into that.
Yeah, so I don't really remember a whole lot about my childhood, but what I do remember is like when I was 7 years old, up until 7 I played soccer, basketball, all the recreational sports was in the schools and was out, just those that are in the community and all that. And then I was told by my doctor that it was highly recommended that because my body structure and the way that I only have one kidney and the way that my arms are set up, that if I get hit with a ball or by a person, that things could either be minor, like I break an arm, or major, where I rupture my kidney, and we should have to go into immediate surgery, and I could possibly die and have that kind of effect. So my brother, who was 2 years older than me at the time, in 2007, was a swimmer, and I was at practice, and our club director at the time, Joe Keller, just saw me there at practices, like waiting for my brother to get done, and just really being like, why don't you hop in the pool? Like, I took swim lessons when I was 3 years old, so I've already been water safe, and why not hop in the pool and see how it went? Well, it went pretty well because as soon as I hopped in the pool, I fell in love with it. And as a 7-year-old boy, not being able to play football, basketball, soccer, you gotta blow off your energy, blow off the team, have that stress-free life, and the boy, you gotta run around, you gotta do something. So we sat down, we just talked it over, and swimming, I felt comfortable with who I was and just how I did things, and that's kind of how I got started in it.
That's awesome. Can you explain a little bit more about the syndrome that you do have to the people so they can understand a little bit more what you've been going through with that?
Yeah, so what I was born with is called Nature syndrome, which means that I'm bent at the right angle. I can't flex my arms past the right angle on either arm, or without thumb. And so I've had 33 surgeries throughout my life. 33, there's a lot, crazy amount of numbers. So,
Jesus.
4 without thumbs, I have 4 fingers on each hand. And so they moved a couple fingers down to act like thumbs and help me cope with that. And just, I have one kidney, and so just being able to deal with all those medical things. And I had a feeding tube as a child, so I couldn't eat or drink properly. And just a lot of tubes and a lot of doctor's visits were my whole life, really, until I hit 13, 14 years old when I finally started to develop a little more and being able to just hop on my thyroid meds or just be able to take medication normally and not have to go to a specialist in Indianapolis or wherever they would send me, and just be able to cope with it turned into how to live into how do I make it thrive, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I love the way you think about that. Like, instead of how to live, how do I make this more than just like, oh, I'm just trying to make it through, and you're striving for better. And obviously that paid off and being in trial. So how did having this syndrome to you change, you think, your mindset, or how did that help you? Or maybe even growing up, like, I'm sure you had people say stuff or you heard some horrible things and whatnot. Like, how does that help you? And what's your advice for people like with similar syndromes or any type of syndrome, or just people in general that have issues with like bullying or mindset issues? Like, what's your advice for that? And how did you work through those types of issues?
Yeah. Jordan can see how I acted in college and how I carried myself really well. There be days where I just did not want to go to school or I did not want to do anything. But you always have to remember there's always someone in a worse situation, whether that be they're being beaten at home or they're not getting fed. When I have a roof over my house, a roof over my head, I have food on the table every day, and I have the ability to talk and listen and understand and just be that light. Because if I can show people with my disability that I smile, I laugh, I have fun, and I network, then that means anyone can do it. In my eyes, if I can do it, then anyone can do it. No matter what your circumstances in, whether you're just filled with anxiety or you have a more severe disability, like a physical or mental or whatever it is, that there's always someone in a worse situation. And the motto I go by is the word impossible. If you take away the I am part of that, it means I'm possible. And showing that in the worst situations or in the worst scenarios that you're put in, you're going to overcome. And that comes with hard work, dedication, and just having the mentality that I don't care about what people say. I'm going to go out there and be me because I know who I am. And that took a long time and a long process. And I'm still to this day trying to figure out exactly who I am. I mean, I'm 22 years old. I don't have it all figured out. But day by day, if I just put my head down and work and show people the genuine Caleb, then people are going to fall in love with it. And people want to be a part of a great success story. People want to hear about people who have overcome a substantial amount of odds. And if I can be that light or be that advocate in any way, then I'm going to do that, you know? It all comes back to where your heart and where your head is. If your heart and your head are in the right areas, then you're going to thrive. If they're not, then you got to reach out and ask for help at that point.
Jordan, any comments yet?
All I got to say is this is why Mr. Caleb is one of the greatest guys out there.
Nah,
but
go ahead. My bad.
I was going to say, talking about like asking for help, kind of how did you go about initially, if you had to go through that, of asking for help, and what do you think are some of like the biggest constraints that people face when they're said with the question like, oh, like you should ask for help if you're stuck with this, but they might have that fear, that anxiety. Kind of what are some of your tips of getting over that?
Yeah, so first of all, is within yourself, because it all starts with you. And if you can't recognize within yourself that there's a problem or if there's something that you need to address, then I don't think you'll ever ask for help. The next step is coming up with a way to not trick yourself, but to tell yourself, this is going to help me. And you see it every day. And the most successful and the most famous people, those that are the most rich in life, not as far as money, but have the success, Like Bill Belichick, for example, for the New England Patriots head coach. He at one point had to ask someone, hey, how do I do this? Because he didn't just step into the Patriots and take them to the Super Bowl for however many years. Or Bill Gates, who is one of the most famous guys on earth, one of the richest, he had to at one point ask someone a computer question or a phone question or some question that he had to ask in order to get to where he is. And the quicker we realize that everyone has to ask someone at some point something about their profession or their mentality or their way of life, there's always going to be someone ahead of you. So why not ask? The worst thing that's going to happen is they say no or they don't even reply. And at that point, you're back to where you started. So therefore, you're not any worse or any better than where you were. So there's always a greater reason to ask for help than just, oh, I'm shy. And trust me, I don't know if you guys would know what an IEP is, but like those that have extra time on tests or those that need accommodation in the classroom. I have one of those. But I wasn't afraid to ask the teacher or to ask my coach or to ask my support system. And that's a big thing. You need to have someone or a group of someone in your corner advocating for you that know your circumstance, that know things about you that can help you. Like me, if you're not yelling at me or like pushing me in practice, then I'm not going to thrive. And I needed to tell my coach that at a young age that, hey, this is how you motivate me. Or if you see me not talking, if I don't talk, then I'm having a bad day. It's because I love to talk. You know that very well. I love to talk. I love to go be goofy and hang out. And if that's not happening, then those support system people in my support system, they'll ask and reach out. So it's not always you asking for help. It's you giving the tools to someone who can help you without you always asking for help. Because there's going to be a point, and there have been points in my life where I didn't know I needed help, but people have sent that random text message or have pulled me aside after a practice or in the classroom saying, hey, how are you feeling? How are you really? And so just knowing yourself and knowing those around you, like those one or two people that you can talk to and have in your corner that are ready to help you whenever you need help. And also, I mean, this is a lot, but in today's age, everybody wants to do it on their own. But if you go back to creation and the beginning, if you were meant to do things on your own, you'd be the only person here on earth. You would not have what we call family or friendship or coworkers or teammates. If this life was really meant for you to go at it alone, then you would be the only person that you know and the only person that you trust. And that's why we have trust, and that's why we have the ability to talk to other people, because we need those support systems.
I love what he's saying, Caleb, about support system and knowing who you are. And like it brings me back to an episode me and Jordan talked about having support system. And you got to have a good support system. So when there's those negative people in your life, sometimes that's the case. You got to have the right support system. It's not just about having people in your life. There can be people in your life that are still not the right people. So you got to evaluate those situations well and have the right people, like Caleb said, and like me and Jordan said before. Make sure you just have the right type of people in your life. And like, I think the most important thing that Caleb said there about support system and having the right people in your life is you don't always have to reach out for help. Like if you had the right people and the right support system in your life, they're going to reach out to you as well. And they're going to check on you. And like you said, ask you, how are you really? Like, let's not beat around the bush here. Let's not bullshit. Like, how are you really doing today? Or how are you really doing like, the last couple months? Like they can just tell when something's off as well. And then you being that type of person for someone else is also a great thing. And something that you need to do. Like, they're supporting you and you equally return that. And also, like, if you need help though, reach out too, like he said, no matter what it is, like mentally, like a mental illness or any just like help with like your business or whatever it is. We talked about it last week with Devori, and that was like one of the biggest things he talked about is like everyone in life needs a mentor. And at the same thing that Caleb said, at some point in your life, you're gonna need help with something. You can't go at it alone. And that's part of everyone's purpose on life, is to come together and work together and help each other out. Like you figure out your purpose, and by finding out your purpose, you can help others find their purpose by just completing or doing the stuff that is your purpose. And then other people see that, you help them fulfill their purpose type stuff. So yeah, you're Caleb also said that you're going to be alone. Yeah, like if you're meant to live life alone, why are we not like, why is there not one person still? Like,
Why are we here
why are
right
we
now
not
talking
alone?
about this, you know?
Yeah.
We're literally
So
here right now in a community talking about stuff, and why would we do that if we're meant to be alone?
yeah. So it's obvious that the universe, the world, God, whatever you guys believe in, like Jordan and I said, we leave that pretty open for you guys to interpret. But there's a reason there's more than one person on the earth. There's a reason there's billions of people on the earth, because they're here. Like we're supposed to support each other. We're supposed to help each other. And I think that that's something that's become less and less of, and it's unfortunate. So that's why I'm really happy that Caleb talked about that. And I'm glad that we're just on the subject now, because we're in a day and age, like he said, that everyone wants to do stuff on their own. But this is also a day and age where if you like, you can access and get access to anybody you really want to or need to get a hold of. So take advantage of that. Get on the internet. Like Caleb said, reach out. Like we wouldn't, Caleb knew Jordan, but either way, there was no way that we could have got him on here without reaching out. Same thing with Devori last week. We don't know Devori. Devori has a huge following. He could have said no. He could have not answered, like Caleb said. But the point is, reach out for help. And another amazing thing, you just said so much yourself there, Caleb, is that he said, like, if you reach out and they don't answer, they say no, it's not like you took a step back. You're literally in the same spot. At least you took action to try to get the help you needed, and you're stuck in the same spot. You didn't take a step back. You took a step forward by making that at least taking action. So that is a step forward in my book. So, and then you just, if they don't answer, you say no, it's move on to the next person. It's the worst they could do is say no. Like Caleb said, it's not like, oh, this person hates me or I can't get this help from anywhere else. There's so many people in the world that just because one person says no, that doesn't mean that there's not another person that knows the exact same thing you needed to know from the person you asked. You just find another person in the same niche, in the same market, whatever that is, and reach out to them and see if they answer. And you just keep doing that till you find the right people, the right mentor, the right support system, all that stuff.
Yeah, can I add to that a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing is, like I said in the last question, if people want to be a part of something great, and if you're genuine, and that's a big thing, people are fake. A lot of people are fake. High school, college people are fake, and people fake until they make it, or they're just fake, and people see right through that. And so, if you're genuinely asking for help, people are going to genuinely want to help you, because if they say no, they're going to feel bad at the end of the day. Or if they do say no because they're either busy or they have a legit reason, they're going to keep that in mind, and maybe they know someone. Because I've had that happen to me where they didn't know the answer or they didn't know how to help. But then a week or two or even a month down the road, I get a text message saying, hey, remember when you asked me for help? This is the person you should talk to. Or this is someone you should go to. Or this is a resource. And it goes back to I don't know who said this quote, but however many times you get knocked down, like 10 times, but I get up 11. Or I get knocked down 100 times, but I get up 101 times. It doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. You can stay down, but as soon as you get back up, you're up more than you are down. So it's all about the mindset. And a lot of people nowadays do not have a mindset of, I'm going to go out there and achieve my goals, and they're all out for me, me, me. But we need to put that M upside down and turn it into we, instead of just me.
No,
It's all
exactly.
about we and not me.
Exactly. I think that was one thing that Jordan and I like to talk about with the brand is like authentic vibes only. Like we talk about, oh, it's like about being your true, authentic, and genuine self and not caring what others think. But that doesn't, like, being your true, authentic self doesn't push off negative vibes. So like when you find your true, authentic self and you go through that journey, it's a never ending journey. But once you finally start growing and come on to this higher frequency and vibration, then you feel better as a person. And then it's like just finding your purpose, like I said, and then you want to help others and you feel better helping others. You feel just as good helping others as you are for helping yourself. You're not being selfish, and you're spreading the knowledge, you're spreading the gratitude, you're spreading those vibes out to the world for everyone to see, because you started just by yourself and you know where you started in that journey. So now you know where you want to go and you know who you want to help, and you feel like helping because you know how that journey is. You know how it is to be alone. You know how it is to be in a hard place. You know how it is to be on that journey of growth. So that's just amazing thing about why we started the brand. And also it's something that I don't want it to be a misconception of that it's like a just solely focused on yourself, because the journey of finding yourself starts off as like you said, it starts alone, but then it becomes so much bigger, and you bring so many people along and so many people come into your life, and you want to help them as well come on the journey of being authentic, and it turns into so much more than just, oh, I'm here for myself, because it's not what it is. It's not what life's about either. Like it can be for a little bit, but then you realize, like you said, you realize that you ain't supposed to be here alone. You're not supposed to be doing everything alone. You're not supposed to do this alone. So, yeah, that's amazing, amazing things. Um, Sorry, there's a lot there. I'm trying to think back there for a second on something else you
I
said.
talked a lot. Don't worry.
No, it's okay. I like it. Oh, something about like seeing through like fake people and stuff. I agree. There is like seeing through fake people, and then like genuine people helping genuine people. When you said that, like it is very easy to see through people's bullshit. That's true. And that's one thing that's very hard on here. I feel like with the podcast, this is a little off topic, maybe not, but I've talked to people about it, and they asked me like there be like people that do reach out, and like people that are, my support system, and I'm not always fully transparent with them, but like I'm comfortable in who I am. But like when I get on here, I feel still like I'm a little bit different of a person, but it's the case. Like people ask me like, do you feel like you just went to a therapy session sometimes when you're on your podcast? I said, yeah, honestly, like, because I have to be fully transparent, because these people eat me alive and realize that I'm up here lying. I'm bullshit. And I'm not showing my true colors. I'm not being my true self. So, being on here really helps me feel and be more genuine and authentic. And I love that about the brand, and just being on here in front of the people. I don't know. It's like they're helping me without helping me. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. And then also, like you saying, people reach out. I had a lot of that with like mentors that would help me, or I'd ask for help and they'd be like, I'm not sure. But same thing, they would send someone my way, like, oh, I'm not sure, but I know this person could help you. And that's just the benefits of reaching out to people and making those networks and making those genuine connections. And these things aren't going to happen from one conversation normally, but like maybe one conversation you'll get the help you need, but like keeping that connection, not just using it for, oh, I'm going to use this person because they know how to do this. It's not about that. It's about making a genuine connection, and then they help you with something, and then I'm sure there's something you could help them with in return. And then same thing, like you go to them in the future, they come to you in the future, but maybe they don't know or you don't know. Nah, I got someone though that could also you could connect with, and you could talk with them. And that's just another genuine connection you can make to have more people in your corner, more support, and then more people for you to support and be in their corner as well. So it's actually a cool like full circle like moment when stuff like that happens. And it's like the way of life. It's really cool how stuff like that works out and happens when you are being a genuine person, and being true to yourself.
Yeah, it's all about building each other up, Doesn't matter where you're at currently, but even if you're ahead of other people, if other people are ahead of you, wherever you can provide the value the most, that's kind of where it comes down to. If you can provide the value and you can be able to help someone else out along their journey, no matter where they're at, and just build that collective type of community of, everyone progressing forward. That's the whole thing.
Sorry, Jordan. Yeah, there's just silence, but it's because sometimes there's got to be that silence, like to just take in what was said. It's just last week I felt that a lot, and it was hard. Same thing with Caleb. Like it's hard to like respond sometimes because like the stuff that's being said is so amazing. I'm really just trying to comprehend what is being said out here on the podcast. But let's get next into a little bit more on the swimming aspect and how you went on trial for the Olympics. And now that led like all the mindset stuff and growing up and not being in contact sport, swimming, kept swimming, getting a better mindset, being comfortable in who you were and being comfortable in the pool and that maybe, like you said, even helped figure out who you were better. And now it's led all the way into you having a swim coach job, which is amazing. So let's talk about that kind of journey from swimming in 7 and until 13 and then going to trial and now taking it into a further aspect and having a bigger voice and even more experience and being able to coach other swimmers and athletes.
Yeah, so started when I was 7, and then 7, 8, and 9, those ages, I just perfected my craft. And then when I was 10, we brought on a new coach who coached me for 7 years, which that's amazing. And we recently been connecting, so we've been talking a lot about the journey. And he's one of my coaching mentors. And I asked him the other day, like, how did you do it? Like, how did you coach me? Because I'm the first disabled swimmer that's come up through our club program. And all our coaches were new to teaching and coaching a disabled swimmer. Like, how do we do this? Like, seriously. They asked each other, how do we do this? And they went to like USA Swimming and said, how do we coach them? Like, there wasn't a whole lot of resources like they are now, because in 2007, a lot of the Paralympic realm of it is not developed fully yet. And so we figured out that my times were fast enough to where instead of just competing against regular able-bodied swimmers, there's this thing called the Paralympic route, where if people don't know, the Paralympics are for amputees, for blind, for those that are not mentally disabled, because that's the Special Olympics. There is a difference. I will fight you on it. There is a huge difference between Special Olympics and Paralympics. And so Special Olympics are for those with cognitive disabilities, and Paralympics are those for with blindness or with a physical disability. So my times were fast enough to where I got to go to the meet in California in 2011, and it was my first international meet. And so we went out to California, Anaheim, California, and I got to swim in 13 other countries. And we were like home base in California, but Australia, Japan, South Korea, some African countries were there, and just countries all over the world were there. And I was just like taking it all in as an 11-year-old. And I just remember very vividly competing again and warming up in a pool with people from all over the world and just thinking, this is cool. They all have a disability of some kind. And normally when I walk out on the pool deck, I'm the only one with a disability. No, that's not the case. Everyone here, the elephant in the room was we all had a disability, but how can we use it to our advantage? That's the strategy when it comes to disability swimming. How do we use our disability to dominate our competition who also have a disability of some sort? And so just being there as an 11-year-old was freaking awesome, but also just taking in that experience of I'm no longer in an environment where I'm comfortable, and now I'm uncomfortable, and how do I use it to my advantage? Well, at that meet, I got the Paralympic trial time. So I went to the 2012 Paralympic trials to try to make the London 2012 team as a 12-year-old. And not a lot of people that are under 15 or even 12 are making Paralympic, Olympic, Special Olympic trials. And as a 12-year-old from a small community of 3,000 people in our town, that's a pretty huge accomplishment, a pretty big deal. And so I got a lot of recognition from our school, a lot of recognition from our superintendent, our principals, all of our athletics. It really boosted my morale and just how I was on a stage at that point where I was being looked at by a lot of people across the country, even all over the world, that I had a platform. And that's where I started developing the sense of I'm an athlete, I'm a student, I'm Caleb, but what can I do to help share my story and my talent with other people. And so went to trials in 2012. I did not make the team, but I just gained a lot of experience. And I was on a USA relay, just got to compete for my club, for my town, for our school community, and just for the state of Indiana and at a meet like that. And that's the second highest meet you'll ever go to as a swimmer in Olympic trials. So it's a pretty huge accomplishment. And then from 13 to 16, I just trained. I went to a couple international meets in Canada every now and then. Every winter or every summer, it would be another meet. Just checking in on keeping up with how people are doing. Because in Indiana, we're in a cornfield. We don't have a whole lot of resources, and I'm the only disabled person here. So I just gotta put my head down and train, and that's what I liked about it. I wasn't caught up in all the drama, all the distractions of the fame life and all that. Just putting my head down in the water and just keep on going. And then 2016, I qualified again for trials in Charlotte, North Carolina, where at the pool that Ryan Lochte swam at. A lot of people know who Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps are at his home pool that he trained at all his career in that Carolina. And I won the 100 backstroke in my classification. So I became a national champion at that point and really put myself on a stage and a pedestal of I'm no longer a part of it. I am here and I made it to the top level. And it just only helped me craft and put me where I'm 16 years old, yeah, but I'm what we call a veteran at that point where this is my second trial. And how can I help the first time trials or trial swimmers and those that are recently new to the Paralympic sporting realm, and just how can I be an advocate and help out that side of the sport, because that's what I've been known for and what I've been doing all my life. And then once the trial was over, there's this thing called the post-trial depression, where if you don't make the team, you go back home and you're like, now what? I got a week or two off before I started training back up again. And from 12 to 16, I didn't take a whole lot of breaks. I trained 6 days a week, more than 24 or 25 hours a week. A lot of just swimming alone, not with school, not with all that. So getting up at 5 a.m., training, going to school. I wouldn't get home till 5:30, 6 o'clock, eating dinner and homework and not being in bed till 9 o'clock. So basically a full-time job, and that's where I just had to commit to it. And then I just so happened to make the World Championship trials in 2017, and I didn't think I was going to make the team. And later on, it's an emotional time for me because I did not want to swim. I wanted to quit after that, and I got a phone call from the head director of USA Paralympic Swimming, and she said, "Congratulations, you made the 2017 World Championship team. You're a World Championship qualifier." And that right there is the greatest accomplishment in the water that I've had. I can now tell people that I made the World Championship team. And before I left, I broke 4 American records. And I can now say I'm a World Championship qualifier, and I'm an American record holder, 4-time American record holder, 5 unofficially because one of them didn't. We didn't get the paperwork done in time, but I have 4 American records that are still standing. And just being able to have that behind my belt on a resume and just being able to use that to my knowledge and to put that out there, not to brag about that, but to say, I am qualified, I am experienced. Now, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And so I went to World Championships in Mexico City, and I got 4th place in the 100 backstroke, my best event. And then I got disqualified in another event that I don't like talking about because there's a lot of rules that were in place. But I didn't break any rules, but just the way that the classifications and the swimming rules were set up, my arm stroke just wasn't legal. And it's something that will never change. And so it's a whole complicated system. But in saying that I'm 4th in the world, I was 4th place in the entire world at one point. That's a pretty amazing accomplishment. My times are still in the U.S. I'm still top. I haven't been swimming for 2 years, but my times are still top in the country at some point. And just knowing that I was a top swimmer and how can I help other people. That's where it all comes back to. How can I help others? And so that was my junior year of high school. So going into my senior year, I really focused on how can I prepare myself for going to college. So as a kid with a disability, if you're gonna want to go to college, you got to get out ahead. You got to do a lot of recruiting, a lot of stuff on your own, because the IU, the Purdue, the Arizona State, we're all in the great coaches across the country. They're not gonna come after you. You got to go out to them. And so luckily I knew a couple coaches, and my brother was at Olivet, Nazarene University at the time. As a swimmer, he was an All-American all 4 years, and was part of a couple national championships for our division. Just having that ability to connect with some college coaches at the NAIA level and the G3, G2 level, because I knew I wasn't going to go G1, because not a whole lot of disabled swimmers go G1, and that's a fact. And that's something I had to learn at a young age, was that I'm at a disadvantage, but how do I ditch that and turn that into an advantage? It's all about turning it into an advantage, and just walking down the street, people look at me and I'm at a disadvantage, but they don't realize that I have all that I've accomplished under my belt, and I'm probably a lot more knowledgeable than people think I am. And so when it came down to making a college decision, I chose Olivet, which is only 2.5 hours away from home. It's away from home, but also it gave me the opportunity to swim on a scholarship. I don't know if there's a lot of disabled athletes out there that can say I swam on scholarship or I ran on scholarship. Whatever sport or academic they did on a scholarship. And I know a lot of people have scholarships, but also that was an accomplishment. That was a goal that I had going into my college decision and my swimming career, because I knew I wanted to keep going. I didn't realize what was going to happen my junior year of college with my injury, but I wanted to swim. I wanted to keep going and just being an advocate for those with a disability. And I mean, I was the first disabled swimmer, other than Trevor, which Jordan, a little bit about Trevor. He's my college roommate who is also, he's in a wheelchair. And he came to all of that with me, and we were the first two disabled swimmers at the NAIA swimming level. And so we're paving a path for other athletes to then follow along and be an advocate with them and to partner with them. And Olivet just signed another disabled swimmer this summer. So there's now 3 in one sport alone at one college that are going to swim at that level. And just swam throughout college. I did not work as hard as I should have. And then my sophomore year, I made the 2019 Pan Am team. The years that they don't have a world championship or a Paralympic, like the typical 4 years, whenever they have this meet called the Parapan, where it's basically like the world championship, but for that year. And it's for like all the Americas and all the Pan Pacific areas, and just certain areas, not the whole world is involved, but everywhere around the world there's always these top level meets. So that was the fastest meet that year, and I happened to qualify for that. So once again, I'm a veteran. I got to have my name on a American swim cap and swim for my country. And as an athlete, you always want to represent at the highest level. You always want to represent your country. And I swim for God and my country. That's how I roll. And so I got to swim for God and my country at that meet, and just being able to have a cap, the American flag with my name on it, and that is mine, and I earned that. And I have one framed in my office at the pool, and just knowing that I swam at the top level, and then just been able to make a lot of connections. And that's something I love to talk about if you guys have the chance to just talk about connecting and networking. It's a huge deal. And so I got back from that meet my sophomore year, and then got back in the water, and then I took one butterfly stroke in a practice one day, and I felt a nerve from the back of my ear all the way down to my shoulder, and it just hurt. Like I cried my eyes out, got out of the water, and I quickly realized that this was going to be an issue, because I was always raised that unless you're bleeding or unless something falls off, you don't cry. And that's just the mentality that I had. Unless I'm seriously hurt, I will not show emotion. But I showed emotion because it was that bad. So I went to the doctor, got an MRI, and I didn't even know what an MRI or whatever test did. I've never been to a trainer until college. And so going into my junior year, it turns out that my labrum and my shoulders were torn completely because my ball and socket are not connected, and so the labrum that holds your ball and socket and all that cartilage and stuff was torn completely in both shoulders, not just one,
Jesus.
but both. So the doctor highlight it says the words that every athlete don't want to hear. It'd be very good for you to end your career and to focus more on recovery. And so that was all when COVID was happening and all of that. And so I mean, that's a whole other story on its own of how I dealt with all of that. But I went into a deep, not depression, but more of a I lost who I really was, but found out who I really was through that process. Of I'm not defined by what I do, I'm defined by who I am. And so just that journey of that really showed me that I can no longer be an athlete, but I have my scholarship and I was required to be on the pool deck to help other athletes. And my junior and senior year, I helped coach and I was a student coach. And I had internship with coaching. And then post college, I wanted to work with athletics. And I looked at the Miami Dolphins. I was a sport management major with a business minor. So I wanted to work with athletes. I wanted to work with people with disabilities. And I just so happen to have an older brother who recently became the head coach and the club director of our club and high school team, where we grew up in. And so he told me, "Hey, come back and coach with us." Well, I got a position at the high school when I'm coaching at the middle school, and I'm the swim lessons director, and just overseeing all of our swimming development for kids middle school and under. So 14 under is what I focus in, and I help out in the classrooms with teachers during the school day, just being with kids from 18 and under, just loving on them, showing them that they matter and that their lives matter. It's all lives matter. It's just how it is. We
Right.
all matter, we all fit in this society. It's not one group or one people overall. No matter if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, we all matter because we all have a heartbeat and we're all breathing. If you have a heartbeat, you have a voice, then you matter, and there is a will for your life, and there should be something that you need to accomplish, and whether that be 5 years down the road or right now. And so I've just had to figure that out and what do I want to do. And love to be in the NFL one day working for the Dolphins. I got my Miami Dolphins autograph Devontae Parker there.
I see that.
But for now, I got to be here and do what I do here. I have a lot of different roles. I have like 5 jobs that I'm working, but it's all for the benefit of other people and for a lot of athletes. We're people first, we're athletes second. So that's just how we roll, and how can I advocate for those? And then I recently got nominated for a position at Indiana Swimming, which is the disability coordinator over Indiana Swimming. So I'm going to work closely with all Indiana swimmers who have disabilities and work with parents and coaches on getting them the resources to have, not just in the sport of swimming, because like me, your career or whatever you do in band or choir, you can lose your voice or lose the ability to do whatever in a heartbeat. It could all change in the snap of a finger. So what are you going to do when that happens? And how are you going to overcome and just be able to deal with that when that happens? And knowing that you're in the right mindset, in the right headspace. And that's where it all comes back to that support system of what happens when that happens. It's not if, it's when. Whether you get old or whether it happens to you with an injury or whatever, or you quit or whatever it is. It's not if, it's when it's going to happen. And how can you then turn it to help other people who are coming up in the programs that you're going in?
You had so much. I mean, what I gotta say so far is you're an amazing motherfucking person. This is crazy. I love what you said at the end there. I think it just wrapped it up really well when you said a few minutes ago, I'm not defined by what I do, but who I am, because I was in that same boat for so long. And I wasn't even at the stage you were, like the things you have accomplished, no matter being disabled or not disabled, are not things that many people are able to accomplish in life. So that's amazing. But being a college athlete and then like what I was going through at that time. And then the same thing, like I was always known to be an athlete. So I had to go through a similar journey of like, I'm not defined by what I do, but who I am. So then I had to find out who I was. And it's just amazing to me that who knows, like, cause I don't know everything you've been through in life and like all the struggles and all the, I'm sure messed up things that people have said and all yeah, just all the struggles, all that shit. And you really just put your mind to that shit and said, I'm gonna do this. And it doesn't matter what people are saying to me. It doesn't matter what they're doing. It matters what I'm doing. It matters who I am. And you also always were on the lookout in the betterment of other people. I think that is an amazing thing that you said too, is just like when you were a veteran, even though you made the times, you were there to help other people. You were there to help the new people that just made trials. Um, when you were done playing sports, you couldn't swim anymore, but you were still a part of the team. You were there to help and help your other teammates. And then now you're still bringing that knowledge and that character as of who you are as a person and in caring for others and being a true genuine person and wanting to just spread your knowledge and continue to be a good person and help in any way possible. And I just think that, I don't know, it makes me the story makes me emotional just because like how like literally in a minute there I did get teary. I'm an emotional person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, but like just to see how much you were willing to not even care what you were doing, but to just care and care about other people is just insane to me. And
Well,
I
a lot of
fucking
that, sorry, to
go ahead.
interrupt. A lot of that was when I was younger, I was treated like everybody else. I mean, whoever is listening to this out there, no matter what your need is or whatever you're born with or whatever it is for you, like yeah, I got made fun of a lot. I got made fun of. I got called names. I got whatever it was. But the thing is, I our one of our professors, Todd Reed, who we met freshman year and all that. Freshman year, he told me one day, there's a lot of people who go into our field that we want to go in as sport management. You got to find a way to separate yourself from everybody else. Everyone can read, everyone can write, everyone can talk. But how do you do that? And how do you do that to your ability? Well, me, I have a disability. And so once I got to campus in high school or even in college, the first thing I did, I walked around campus and said hi to everyone I knew. Or I didn't know. Or what professor. Or I would walk right up to the president and introduce myself to the president of the university. And we talk every now and then. We still talk on Facebook. It's more about putting yourself out there. And yeah, there will be days where I just don't want to do anything. Like today was a rough day. I'll be honest. Today was a rough day. But also, I knew there had to things that had to get done. There were like all school meetings because school starts tomorrow. A lot of meetings. Like sometimes you kind of put on that face and that smile, and not fake that everything's okay, but your genuine self will show. And apparently, studies have shown when you smile, you actually start to feel better. If you're ever feeling down, just smile. You're gonna feel better. You naturally feel better. And so for me, I walked around college. Jordan can tell you, I talked to everyone I knew, and I didn't know. Like half the guys on the football team or half the guys on the baseball team, I didn't know them. I didn't know all their names, but I still walked up and said hey to every one of them because you never know what their story or what they're gonna do that day or how their day goes. Because I mean, you make eye contact with someone and say, "Hey, how are you?" and they don't reply or whatever, they just walk past you. You never know what's happening in their life, and that's the mindset I think as professionals and fields that we're going into. I mean, we're not all businessmen, we're not all professionals to where we are now, but we just gotta ask those tough questions and remember it's all about everybody else, not about us. Because if we focus on us, we're the only ones that are going to succeed. If we focus on other people, then they're going to succeed, which ultimately will lead to our success. If people succeed and you're a part of it, then you're going to succeed too. And just for all of you out there, just get your name out there. Don't be in your room. Don't do whatever it is on TikTok or whatever you got to do to be alone. Just get out there. The worst thing I can do is just be alone. I gotta be an advocate. I gotta get my name out there. I gotta get myself out there, not for me, but for people to see me and be like, "How can I help you? And how can you help me?"
it's that platform. Like, I love that everything you've accomplished, you've just used it to pave the way and make platforms for other people. Like, you literally, like, no matter what, you've made a platform for yourself, and you're using that platform to your advantage for people that don't have those platforms. I love that. Jordan, I've talked about it. We can't wait to get to that point that we can give so much more back. And we said it before, like I said it before, like, as right now, I'm gonna give you guys my knowledge and everything I have, and that's what I have right now. I don't have the money or the following or whatever I can, but what I do have is knowledge. I have passion. I'm compassionate in heart. So that's what I give back right now. When I can give back more, I'm going to give back more. It's just about creating that platform. And like you said, when you create that platform, you're caring for others, and just, yeah, give it back. Um, Everyone can eat. Everyone deserves to eat. It's not just us, like you said, people, I mean, people created the world, like, besides the universe and however it first started, however that stuff happened. But everyone else built everything else together, We wouldn't have highways if people weren't working together. We wouldn't have any sort of chain if people weren't working together. We wouldn't have any, you know, things got built. The empires got built because people were worked together and helped each other. And I'm love that you're talking about this, because I'm ready, and we need more of it in the world right now, because the world seems to be separating, unfortunately. But nah, it's always about the betterment for people and humanity, and it don't matter what you are, skin color, if you have a disability, if you don't have a disability, if any sort of, it don't matter. Like Caleb said, if you have a heartbeat, you matter. And we should all work together, and that's what it's about, uniting together. That's what we are, the United States of America. And not even if you're not just the United States of America, but that's literally the name of our country, the United States of America. So why are we not becoming and being more united as people? That's what it's really about. Jordan, any thoughts?
All I gotta say is go rewind all of it back to the beginning and listen to every single word Caleb just said, and then rewind it again and watch it 2 more times, because, man, if you don't understand his message there about it's about us as a collective being, us as humans helping one another to progress forward, then you're missing the whole entire point.
Agreed.
It takes a while to get to that point. It wasn't always happy and dandy, but also you got to go through the ups and downs in order to get to where you are. That's part of your journey. It's all about the process. If you can't enjoy the process and the hard work, then you're not going to enjoy the success a lot more. If you enjoy the process and you enjoy and appreciate the challenges, then it's only going to make that success a whole lot more sweeter. A whole lot more.
1,000%. 1,000%. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the steps, enjoy the obstacles, every bit of it. Be grounded, and don't miss out, because I don't know. There's this one TikTok or like audio I've been hearing a lot lately about the just missing out on everything. But yeah, just enjoy that, be in the moment, live in the moment, no matter good or bad. And you enjoy that process, you get through it. You can get through it. And yeah, inside you'll get through whatever's put in front of you. You're right there, man. You're on the way to the top. And you're really, like Caleb said, you'll really enjoy it more if you don't just hate the whole time. You probably won't even, sounds messed up, but if you're just not enjoying what you're doing and not enjoying the process, you're probably not going to make it to the top. So you got to enjoy where you're at now and just keep building on that, and be grateful and thankful for everything you're going through. And even though it may not be the best day, you still look at the bright side. Also look out for others. This is my final words until we'll finish with our meditation and affirmations for the day. We always do. So we got a book. I'll tell my guests, we got 24 hours a day. It's every day for a year. We're not here every day, but we always go based off of the day that we're on. So it's August 9th. So I'll read the affirmation for a day. And meditations. It's actually called prayers for the day, but because we don't push like religion and stuff, we just say that it's like affirmations for people's day, to kind of, because we do push like affirmation and just being a better you. So the meditation is: ask the universe in daily prayer to give you the strength to change. When you ask the universe to change you, you must at the same time fully trust them or it. If you do not fully trust it, then the universe may answer your prayer as a rescuer does that of a drowning person who is putting up too much of a struggle. The rescuer must first render the person still more helpless until he or she is wholly at the rescuer's mercy. Just so must we be wholly at the universe's mercy before we can be rescued. Any words for me? You guys can have reactions.
Good stuff.
Feel it. Affirmations for the day. You guys write these in your journals. If you haven't started doing affirmations, here's a place to start. We say this every time. I affirm that I may be daily willing to be changed into my higher self and best version of me. I affirm that I may put myself wholly at the mercy of the universe and trust fully. So there's your affirmations for the day, guys. Rewind, repeat, listen to them, write them in the journey or journal, and repeat those daily. We're here at the end of this episode. I want to say a great thank you to Caleb. What an amazing story, an amazing guest. I'm glad that he was here for you guys. Like he said, man, he's just here to help us. You know, he wanted to get on here and he wants to help you guys and just give his story and hopefully motivate a lot of you guys. And even if not, I'm sure reach out to him. If you're listening, he'll talk to you guys, reach out. So thank you, Caleb, for getting on. And as always, thank you. And as always, we got Jordan. He's always so quiet now. But he's here. He's taking it all in. I know he's here, but appreciate having Jordan as always as my co-host. And thanks again, Caleb. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.
Free falling like I'm skydiving, teacher and student, two worlds colliding. I love music, I don't abuse it. Take your crafts and you infuse them. Say you're normal, that's kind of weird. In deep thought, stroking my beard. Head of the table, saying my cheers. Ended up grateful for all the tears. Ready to grind for years. Been loving what's in the mirror. Ready to grind for years. Been loving what's in